please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Good morning and welcome to Power Breakfast in the Mumbai News Centre. I am Anisha Jain and with me is Nigel D'Souza. Hi Nigel, happy Children's Day to you.
Happy Children's Day to all those lovely kids all across India and the globe. In fact, it's a very, very special day and I'm quite excited as you all a very happy Children's Day. You all are the future of the nation and the future of tomorrow. So be good and get educated. That's the most important thing as well, Anisha.
Well, yes, get educated is the most important day. We will celebrate Children's Day all through the day. But first up, let's run you through the top headlines at this hour. US markets halt a two-day slide as investors await cues on monetary policy and tax reform. Asia opens mixed ahead of a deluge of economic data due in China today.
And Finance Minister Arun Jaitly hits back at P. Chidambaram's GST comments, denies the 28% slab rationalization is a political move. J&K Finance Minister Hasib Drabo tells us that rationalization of 12 and 18% GST slabs is next, adds that analysts might be jumping the gun prematurely regarding the fiscal fears.
Big earnings today. Eicher Motors seen posting a strong quarter. Revenue growth to be driven by price hikes. Sun Pharma profits seen rising 64%, but US business seen under pressure. And all eyes will be on Bank of Baroda's asset quality as it reports numbers today.
And in the semi-annual index review for the MSCI equity indices, Britannia, Petronet and Vakrangi have been added to the MSCI Global Standard Index, while Apollo Hospital has been removed.
Retail inflation hits a 7-month high in October. Consumer price index rises to around 3.6%. Watch out for WPI inflation today, seen rising to 3.1%.
And footwear retailer Khadim India will list on the bourses today. Remember the 553 crore IPO 0.9 times last week.
Also on the show today, Commerce Minister Suresh Prabhu in his first in-depth interview since his taking charge says that exports will get top billing.
An exclusive chat with CLSA's Chris Ward, who believes that FI inflows and present earnings picture are reasons to worry for the market. Well, first up, a quick check on the Asian equities. They are more or less mixed or under some pressure in early trade. We had a lackluster session coming in from Wall Street, or there most of those indices ended more or less flattish. The Nikkei, though, that's bounced back after yesterday, so that's sitting with a gain of closer around 0.4%. Let's pull up the Kospi. That one was under some pressure in early trade. I remember it being down closer around 0.2%. It's still down closer on 0.2%. Investors really in Asia, they're awaiting a slew of economic data points that are going to be hitting those markets very, very shortly and all through the trading session. So we'll be keeping an eye on economic data coming out of China. For the time being, let's pull up the other couple of markets. So fair to say it's more or less a mixed start for the Asian markets. The SGX 50 though was indicating a flattish start. Let's pull that up for you on the screen. So after yesterday's sharp downtick, maybe we'll start around the flat line.
Okay, so mixed start in Asia, but on Wall Street as well, the US equities closed with marginal gains amid uncertainty over the fate of US tax reform. Now, shares of General Electric actually fell down by around 7% after the company issued weaker than expected guidance for 2018 and also slashed its dividend by 50%. Investors continue to look ahead to key inflation data due later in the week. CNBC's Hampton Pearson gets us a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
U.S. stocks finished the day slightly higher, the Dow rallying 17 points, the S&P up 2, the NASDAQ higher by 6 points. Steve Jurvetson, one of the most influential venture capitalists in Silicon Valley, is leaving the firm he founded amid an investigation into sexual harassment. His firm says the decision was mutual, and Jurvetson says he's taking the time to focus on legal actions against his accusers, calling their statements false. Jurvetson also taking a leave of absence from the boards of Tesla and SpaceX, where he holds seats. General Electric shaking up its business with a major restructuring plan. The company announcing today that it'll cut its dividend in half, just the third time GE cut its dividend since it began paying it out back in 1899. CEO John Flannery telling investors that 2018 will be a reset year and apologizing for GE's poor performance, saying they'll be more focused going forward. Over 400 U.S. millionaires and billionaires, including a Rockefeller and Disney heiress, sent a letter to Congress saying they don't want a tax cut, saying the Republican plan being considered mainly benefits the rich, and that it would increase the budget deficit and lead to cuts in education and health care. That's the action from the U.S. markets. Back to you in Mumbai.
And the U.S. President Donald Trump concludes his five-nation ASEAN visit with the Asian Summit in Manila. CNBC's Martin Soong reports with the key highlights and the takeaways from the U.S. President's visit.
This is the anchor leg of the president's tour through Asia. Epic length, of course, 12 days in all, end to end. And one of the big goals of it was, of course, trying to keep Asia, or getting Asia on side, or rather keeping it on side, and from slipping into the sphere of influence of China. Here's a listen to the president's vision for this part of the world.
So we want our partners in the region to be strong, independent, and prosperous, in control of their own destinies, and satellites to no one. These are the principles behind our vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific.
In the last 24 hours, there's been some interesting developments. Something called the Quad has been resurrected. Quad as in four ways. So that's the U.S., that would be Japan, that would be India, that would be Australia as well. This grouping, a security grouping, is an initiative of the Japanese from about 10 years ago, but it's finally come to fruition. And that's kind of got China's backup, because they think, look, these four guys are ganging up against us. But the other thing to talk about is finally, after all this time, we've got some movement on not just North Korea and a more balanced approach, but also the South China Sea. We have Southeast Asia and also China agreeing to start negotiating a code of conduct. Now, the thing is, though, this is something they've been trying to do for about nigh on 12 years now, I think. Back in 2002, they came out with a declaration of conduct. That ended up being just a one-page, one-sheet statement, which in the end nobody stuck to, not least China. So hopes are not high for this more evolved code of conduct.
Well, Europe markets as well, they had a rather weak trading session. Investors were there, they focused on a couple of aspects. One was earnings. The second factor was they monitored political developments in the United Kingdom. Now, important cues to watch. UK lawmakers will debate the Brexit blueprint later today. The Parliament will also discuss Theresa May's EU withdrawal bill, which is said to be copy and paste of the European Union's rules and regulations into British law. So that's about the three frontliners. They ended in the red. But you pull up the peripheral indices, the ATHEX, that was under some pressure. That, in fact, ended with a cut of around 2.2% in trade yesterday. But I was looking at the Italian index, and it ended with a cut of around 1%. And early this morning, in fact, we've got news that Italy will not be playing in the next World Cup, and that's the first World Cup that Italy will be missing in the last 60 years. Football World Cup is what we're talking about. And legendary goalkeeper Buffon, he as well has retired after 5 successive World Cups. Well, in terms of the equity markets again, you pull up the emerging markets, it was a mixed bag, because you had the Brazilian index that ended with a gain of close on 0.4%. On the flip side, the Russian index ended with a cut of more than 0.5%.
Okay, then let's shift focus to the currency space now. The dollar got support from higher U.S. Treasury yields in early morning trade, while sterling arrested a recent slide, which followed concerns about Theresa May's ability to stay on as British Prime Minister.
Turning our attention to the world of commodities, and oil prices are steady after being range-bound in the previous session, as markets wait increasing U.S. production and geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Brent crude prices holding flat at around $63 per barrel.
And from the precious metal space, gold recovered some losses as the U.S. dollar steadied, and uncertainty over a U.S. tax reform plan stoked risk aversion.
Wall Street, the Nifty yesterday did open flattish, but saw continuous selling pressure all through the trading session, ending virtually at the low point of the day. The Nifty, remember, it failed to even end above the 10,250 mark. And in terms of the correction from the recent peak, well, we've corrected more than 250 points on the Nifty. On the Sensex, we're down a whopping 800 points from the recent peak. Naveen Shetty joins us early this morning to tell us how he's reading trade setup. Hi Naveen, good morning.
Good morning, Nigel. As you clearly pointed out, yesterday's trade, we ended closer to the low point of the day. But the big worry will be that the big boys, the likes of HDFC, L&T and ITC, they drag the index down. Also, if you see today morning from the global cues also, we don't have any strong cues. European index yesterday, they ended almost with 0.4% of a loss. Dow Jones also ended flattish. Even SGX Nifty, that is indicating a flattish to a reddish start. On the other hand, if you see the institutional activity, that hasn't been in favor of the bulls. And the cash market, the net selling was closer to 500 crore from both FIIs as well as DIIs. Talking about the FNO data, the PCR ratio, that has come down from 1.33 levels to 1. Futures premium, that has increased from 12.5 levels to almost 44 rupees is what the premium is. So that is that bit of a positive in the overall setup. Back to you.
Okay, Naveen, thank you for that. But also tell us, what are the stocks that we should watch out in today's trade?
Well, Anisha, as you know, we are at the fag end of the earnings season. So a whole host of result reactions as well as the results that are expected today. The stocks will clearly be in focus. So the results that are expected today, big boy Sun Pharma is expected to post its Q2 numbers. On the other hand, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, CEAT, Eicher Motors, GAIL as well as GMR. These are few of the stocks which will be posting their Q2 numbers. On the back of results that came in yesterday post-market, Union Bank will clearly be in focus as the asset quality over there continues to deteriorate and the net loss widens QOQ. On the other hand, Repco Home Finance also strong set of numbers in terms of the NIM, almost reported highest NIM in the last 9 quarters. So see some bit of a positive in Repco Home Finance. On the other hand, Dhanlakshmi Bank, the asset quality overall, that seems to be weighing on the performance, and the GNPA, that has increased from 350 crores to 389 crores quarter on quarter. Phoenix Mills also, if you see the revenue, that has been lower due to the fall in the revenue from their property business. Procter & Gamble also has posted decent set of numbers. Revenue is up 10%, EBITDA up close to 24%. On the other hand, if you see the infra company, Man Infrastructure, that has been posting decent numbers in the last few quarters, but this quarter hasn't been the case. Revenue is down close to 16%, EBITDA is also down. KEI Industries, one of the multi-baggers in the last 1 to 2 years. Strong set of numbers continues, revenue up 28% as well as EBITDA is up 14%. Packaging film sector, that has been seeing a lot of pain, the likes of SRF, Cosmo Films. Now Jindal Poly, that has come out with weak set of numbers. Revenue is down close to 2%, EBITDA is almost flattish. TNPL, the problem seems to be not ending for Tamil Nadu newsprint. Lack of water is one of the biggest problems. That is showing in their volumes itself. Revenue down close to 21%, EBITDA is down. Star Cement has come up with strong numbers, and the last one being SH Kelkar. Weak set of numbers for the last 3rd quarter in a row. Margins have deteriorated by close to 150 basis points, and even the revenue down by 10%. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Naveen. Well, India is the most promising market among emerging markets in Asia. That's the word that's coming in from CLSA's equity strategist, Chris Wood. But the picture, though, is not all rosy. Wood says that FIs are not bullish on India and that the negative sentiment stems from the lack of any kind of earnings growth.